Why do programmers always mix up Christmas and Halloween? Because October 31st equals December 25th. That's a little binary humor to kick things off. Welcome to the world of software engineering, a profession that might just be the perfect blend of logic, creativity, and of course, the occasional dash of absurdity. Software engineers, the maestros of the digital world, are often seen as serious tech savants, crafting intricate lines of code like a composer penning a symphony. But let's not forget, they're also the people who invent new languages just for fun and consider coffee a viable coding language. Imagine being a software engineer. You're deep into a project, it's 3 in the morning, and you're debugging a piece of code that simply refuses to behave. You've been staring at it for hours, and it's starting to resemble an alien language. And then, boom, you realize you've been missing a semicolon all along. That's right. A tiny, seemingly insignificant punctuation mark was all that stood between you and a successful software launch. The struggle is real, folks. Or consider the eternal battle with off-by-one errors. These pesky bugs have been the bane of software engineers since time immemorial. When you're dealing with arrays, one misplaced index can send a program spiraling into chaos. It's like trying to find a needle in a haystack, except the haystack is also made of needles. And let's not forget about rubber duck debugging, a tried and tested method where a programmer explains their code line by line to a rubber duck, in the hopes of spotting any errors. Yes, you heard that right, a rubber duck. Sometimes the best listener is one that just floats and says nothing. So if you've ever wondered about the life of a software engineer, it's not all just serious coding and complex algorithms. There's a fair share of laughter, head-scratching, and yes, even a bit of rubber duck conversation. And you thought software engineering was all about serious coding. Ever wondered how much a software engineer earns for all the semicolons they put in the right place? Let's dive into the world of dollars and digits, shall we? In the United States, the average software engineer earns about $124,000 a year. That's a lot of semicolons. But not all semicolons are created equal. But wait, what about the Big Apple? In New York, a software engineer can expect to earn around $184,000. That's a lot of hot dogs and Broadway shows. In Silicon Valley, our coding hero might pull in a cool $245,000. That's right, those Valley semicolons are made of gold. The land of tech unicorns and free office snacks. So why the difference in salaries? It's all about the cost of living, my friend. A semicolon in San Francisco might cost you a small fortune in rent, while a semicolon in New York might just get you a cramped studio apartment overlooking a noisy alley. Of course, these numbers aren't set in stone. A software engineer's salary can be influenced by a variety of factors. For example, the number of languages they speak, and by languages we mean Python, Java, C++, not French or Spanish. Also, the complexity of the projects they handle, their level of experience, and whether or not they've mastered the art of drinking coffee while debugging code can all play a role in determining their paycheck. But let's not forget about the perks. Many software engineers enjoy benefits like flexible work schedules, the ability to work in their pajamas, and the endless joy of explaining to their parents what they do for a living over and over again. So, whether you're a software engineer in Silicon Valley living in a swanky loft or in New York battling the subway every morning, remember this. Your value is not just in your paycheck. It's in the problems you solve, the innovation you drive, and yes, in every semicolon you put in the right place. Remember, every semicolon counts, in your code and your paycheck. In the world of coding, it's not just about climbing the corporate ladder. It's about leveling up, like in a video game. Enter the realm of software engineering where the protagonist isn't a knight in shining armor, but a coder armed with a keyboard and a steaming cup of coffee. To embark on this journey, you'll need a bachelor's degree in computer science or a related field. But remember, it's just your starter pack. Once you've stepped into the gaming arena, you'll need to unlock some achievements. We're talking about certifications and licenses. Yes, you might think, who needs licenses when I've got my trusty keyboard? But trust us, in the coding world, certifications like Certified Software Development Professional or Microsoft Certified Azure Developer Associate are like the power-ups that give you an edge over your opponents. Just like how you wouldn't tackle a final boss with a beginner's weapon, you can't expect to conquer the coding world without mastering certain programming languages. Java, Python, C++, or Ruby, pick your weapon of choice and master it. Remember, the more languages you know, the more quests you can undertake. But what about the bosses, you ask? Well, those are your coding challenges. They come in all shapes and sizes, from debugging a system to creating an app from scratch. And just like any game, the bigger the challenge, the bigger the reward. In the coding realm, experience points come in the form of years spent in the field. The more you work, the more you learn, and the higher you climb. And just like any RPG, the more quests you complete, the more respect you command, and the higher your salary climbs. So you see, the path to becoming a software engineer isn't just about following a set path. It's about constantly learning, growing, and leveling up. It's about facing challenges head-on and finding creative solutions. It's about being a hero in your own epic coding adventure. So, ready to level up? In the world of software engineering, time travel is possible. It's called version control. Imagine this: one day, you're working on a project and you accidentally delete an entire day's worth of code. Panic sets in. But then you remember, wait, there's a time machine. You hit the undo button and voila, your code reappears. That's the magic of version control. Now let's take a quick trip back in time. Software engineering, like any other industry, has been shaped by the tides of history. Picture the 80s when floppy disks were the hottest tech around. The life of a software engineer then was all about squeezing as much code into a tiny storage space. They were the original minimalists, even before it was cool. Then, the 90s rolled in with the dawn of the internet. Suddenly, software engineers were no longer just coding for a single machine, but for an interconnected web of computers. This was the digital equivalent of the Wild West, vast, uncharted, and full of possibilities. Fast forward to the early 2000s and the rise of smartphones. Software engineers now found themselves in a race to design apps that could fit in the palm of your hand. And let's not forget the birth of social media, where engineers had to navigate the slippery slopes of privacy, security, and the ever-elusive viral factor. Today, we're in the era of artificial intelligence and machine learning. Software engineers are now tasked with creating code that can learn, adapt, and even think. It's like every sci-fi movie you've ever seen, but without the killer robots, yet. But it's not just historical events that shape the profession. Cultural influences play a big role too. Remember the Y2K bug? That was a direct result of a cultural obsession with the new millennium. Or how about the rise of open source software? A reflection of our increasingly collaborative and transparent society. And that's how software engineers do the time warp. From minimalists to pioneers to mobile maestros to AI architects, they've adapted and evolved with the times, always ready to code their way into the future. No DeLorean required. You may not realize it, but software engineers are the unsung heroes of our daily lives. They are the masterminds, the wizards, the sorcerers behind our screens, turning coffee into code and making magic happen with just a few keystrokes. Picture this: it's a chilly Tuesday morning, you're still half asleep, and your alarm clock decides to go off. You groan, reach out for your phone, and hit snooze. Have you ever wondered who makes that snooze button work so flawlessly every time? You guessed it right. It's our beloved software engineers. And it's not just about the snooze button. It's about every app on your phone, every website you visit, every video game you play, and even the GPS that guides you to the nearest coffee shop. They are the architects of our digital world, building bridges and roads in the vast landscape of the internet. Software engineers are the ones who make sure you can binge watch your favorite series without a glitch, order a pizza with just a click, or even find your soulmate online. Now, isn't that life-altering? They are the silent contributors to society, solving problems we didn't even know we had, and making our lives easier, one line of code at a time. But it's not all rainbows and unicorns. Software engineering is like trying to build a castle of cards in a wind tunnel. It's about wrestling with stubborn bugs at 3 a.m, deciphering cryptic error messages, and surviving on a diet of cold pizza and energy drinks. But despite the challenges, they persist, driven by the joy of solving complex puzzles and the satisfaction of seeing their code come to life. Software engineers are not just coding machines, they are problem solvers, innovators, and creators. Their work touches every aspect of our lives, from healthcare to finance, from entertainment to education, and everything in between. They are shaping the future, one line of code at a time. So the next time your app works flawlessly, remember to thank a software engineer. Who knows, they might just be the ones to code us into a better future. What's the one thing software engineers miss in their job? No, it's not the sunlight. There's a running joke in the tech world. Software engineers don't miss the sunlight or the great outdoors, or even the company of fellow humans. No, the one thing they truly miss, the thing that keeps them up at night, is the elusive semicolon. Just picture it. A software engineer, hunched over the keyboard, eyes glued to the screen. They've been at it for hours, maybe even days, trying to solve a complex problem. The code is nearly perfect. Everything seems to be in order. And then the dreaded error message. Something's not right. But what could it be? They've checked and double-checked everything. The logic is sound. The syntax is correct. And yet, the program refuses to run. It's like trying to find a needle in a haystack. Then just when they're about to throw in the towel, it hits them. The semicolon. They forgot the semicolon. It's such a small thing, almost insignificant. But in the world of software engineering, it's the difference between a successful program and a complete disaster. It's a universal truth that every software engineer has faced this situation at least once. They've all felt the frustration, the desperation, and the sweet relief when they finally spot the missing semicolon. And it's not just about the semicolons. It's about the attention to detail, the painstaking precision that goes into every line of code. It's about the hours of hard work, the sleepless nights, and the unending quest for perfection. So next time you see a software engineer, spare a thought for the missed semicolons. They may seem trivial to you, but to a software engineer, they're the difference between triumph and defeat. Remember, in the world of software engineering, it's the small things that matter. The missed semicolons, the overlooked brackets, the forgotten variables. These are the things that can make or break a project. So if you see a software engineer outside, don't be surprised. They're just chasing the missed semicolons. Did you find this binary tale of software engineers amusing and enlightening? If you're nodding along and your cheeks hurt from smiling so much, we've done our job. Now, how about a little help with ours? We've got this ambitious mission to reach 1,000 subscribers. Yes, you heard it right, 1,000? That's like a byte, but with subscribers instead of bits. And we're hoping you can help us compile that number. Click that like button if you enjoyed our quirky take on software engineers, and hit subscribe if you're all about that coding chaos. Trust me, it's easier than debugging that pesky line of code that's been keeping you up all night. And it doesn't cost a dime, just a couple of clicks. So, do you agree with our take on a day in the life of a software engineer? Comment below and let's keep the binary banter going.